Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is Tuesday. No, it's not. It's Wednesday, April 28th.
Almost, Alex.
Almost had it. I almost had it. All right, take two. No, thank you for joining us today. This is going to be a good episode. Bitcoin's kind of boring, so it's going to open slow, but we'll ramp on as the next 20 minutes or so, come on. Joined by the best hair in crypto. Also, you may have seen him. He is the world medal straw drinking champion, and that's Ryan Gorman. Also joined by CJ and Monty, our crypto analyst from marketrebellion.com. Thanks once again. And Ryan, if you want to do the legal, I know you're traveling, but if you can handle it.
I think I can manage. Thanks, Alex. This is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain and Market Rebellion is strictly for educational and informational purposes only. Absolutely none of this is investment advice. Do not listen to a word we say. Trade the Chain is brought to you by TradeTheChain.com, a global 24/7 community of traders across all time zones of all ages, all abilities, all skill levels, and all backgrounds, all using AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts to help them beat the market.
Oh, show them our new pricing.
That's right. Yeah, go down.
Go to the bottom.
We have three tiers of pricing. We have a monthly, we have a 6-month, and we have an annual.
All the way at the bottom. There we go.
There it is. So you get 1 month off if you go to 6 months. You get 2 months off if you go to the annual. And if you want to check this out, head to TradeTheChain.com and you can do a 14-day test drive.
Awesome. Thanks for that update, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love using Trade the Chain in the mornings to look at that relative trading volume as well as 1 hour sentiment. Usually gives a nice analysis of where we're headed in the short term for those various assets.
You do that over coffee, off like your morning coffee, your paper, and then Trade the Chain?
Oh, that's how I start every morning. Yeah. Every morning, a cup of coffee, Trade the Chain. It's a great way to start the day.
Paper, Alex, still?
I do. I get delivered the New York Times to the door every day.
Gotcha. I read the Times, but more mobile. Anyway.
And marketrebellion.com/crypto. This is Monty and myself and our community at Market Rebellion. And with us, you get trade ideas on a weekly basis. That's entries, exits, and stop losses, all in real time with email updates. You get access to our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform that you'll see a peek of in a minute, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. So if you're serious about trading crypto, definitely check us out. You can sign up for the first month and try it for just $1. Renews then at $29.50 a month. We appreciate that, guys. We also got a mobile app on the Apple users as well, so you can check that out. But it's good to have you guys here. Any thoughts before we get into it?
I do have one thought. Real quickly, last Friday, you may have heard me say, actually, yes, I did. Ocam.fi. Actually, I had a rumor on the first listing for ADA. It's actually DFIRE, DIFIRE. Just found that out. I'll have more news as I get it, but DFIRE is going to be the first launch pad on ADA. So I'm kind of super excited about that because I want to see how it does, and that tying in with Cardano and Ethiopia and all that. So exciting times.
And for those who may not know, a launch pad is what?
It's where the rocket goes before it takes off. No, so Launchpad is, and it was, I think originally it was Binance that coined it. So Binance had their Launchpad, and it's where new projects go to take off from their fresh listing. And so what's happening nowadays is you're having these IDOs, these initial DEX offerings is kind of what they mutated into. And so that's what's happening. It's their IDOs, and this is going to be launching off the pad, first time to consumers.
Thank you for that clarification, Alex. Appreciate that.
Well done, sir.
That's the last time CJ asked me a question.
Yeah, going over to the Trade the Chain dashboard and looking at our coin screener, you can see we still got bearish hourly sentiment, but getting a little bit more neutral. Yesterday, it was far more bearish on the hourly sentiments. But yeah, not too much has changed since our episode yesterday. But going into the markets here, let's talk about Bitcoin, because we're at an interesting state now on the daily chart. It literally looks almost identical to where we were previously in terms of candlestick structure. So you see here was our last bullish engulfing candle around the end of March. And as you can see, we followed it up with a spinning top candle right here. And then that 3 turned into a doji. A doji candle is just when the bulls and bears have indecision. And we get this formation in which it almost looks like a little dreidel or a spinning top, but that is a close, which is very close to the opening price of that candle, in which the bulls and the bears have equal momentum and price differentiates in that manner. So judging by our previous formation of the 1 to 3 candles here, it looks like we are still in the midst of a bullish to neutral consolidation. The one thing I do want to point out here is the fact that we are touching up against this resistance level at 55K. It's been holding strong thus far, but I do expect that level to be broken. And I think if we get a close above this 20 simple period moving average, which is at 56.8 right now, I think we'll be in very nice territory to potentially bounce around in this range before inevitably going higher and testing those previous all-time highs. But I mean, it just looks so similar to what we saw previously once we bounced. So interesting stuff there.
CJ, real quick, would you be able to tell the folks about just the doji and the hammer candle, and are they positive, negative, or can they be both?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for that. Let's look for a good example. I'll start with the hammer candle, I suppose. So a hammer candle, I'll circle one right here. It's very bullish. This is an example of a hammer. It kind of looks like a hammer, but the momentum of the trend and what this means is that it shows us the psychology of the market participants. We open right at this price roughly, then we trade all the way down, but the bulls have the momentum to push price all the way back down, or all the way back up, excuse me, so to the point where it creates this shadow, or many people will refer to it as a candle wick. And so it shows us that we close the trend with upward momentum and we're continuing on an ascending path. So we saw the same thing or very similar thing here. This wasn't a perfect hammer candle because it closed red. But as you can see, typically those are indicative of bullish continuations. And so now I'll get to the doji candle, and the doji candle isn't as significant as the hammer candle. I find the hammer candle to be much more reliable in terms of TA. But what we're seeing right here is an example of a doji candle, and a doji candle is just when you have a flat opening price, and then you have a high, which is an equal distance or very close to equal distance from the low. So it ends up looking a little bit like a plus symbol, but it shows indecision on the market participants. Neither the bulls or the bears are truly gaining dominance at a doji candle. And the most significant doji candles are the ones that appear at either the top of an uptrend or the bottom of a downtrend, because it shows the trend is maybe running out of momentum in the short term, and we might see a differentiation. But overall, I see spinning tops and doji candles to be neutral for the most part, unless if they're at the top of an uptrend or the bottom of a downtrend.
Interesting. Very cool. Thanks for that, man.
Yeah, we have a whole course on that as well at the Market Rebellion Education Center. If you'd like to learn more, like I said, you can try it out for just $1 in the first month if you'd like some more of that education. But yeah.
And the Monty, yes, they mentioned a DeFi course too, right?
Yes, that is correct. A DeFi course will be dropping at the end of this week. We try to drop a course once a month, and DeFi is a hot topic right now, so that will be our course for this month.
Very cool. All right. Let's move over to, you got to be honest with you, Bitcoin's a little boring. So right now.
I said it on Monday, Alex. I said snooze fest.
That's exactly what it is. All right, let's move over to Mana Decentraland and see what's happening with that, because that's starting to get some heat under its wheels.
Oh yeah, this thing has been hot. Actually, CJ and I were talking about it today, and I was surprised to find this morning when I opened my Voyager app and I looked through my portfolio. Mana was my best performing asset so far of 2021. This thing has just been on an absolute tear. And one thing that I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention is what I'm seeing right now on the daily chart. For me, this is very encouraging. Also, I actually wanted to quickly point out on Trade the Chain, you can see, I mean, the relative trading volume was very strong. The long-term sentiment is still bullish, and the 24-hour change almost 15%. So some very strong price action for Mana. But I want to talk about these Bollinger Bands and also how they're kind of lining up nicely with this resistance here at the previous all-time high of $1.63.5. And the one thing about the Bollinger Bands, one way I like to use them, or sorry, these are actually the Keltner channels. One way I like to use the Keltner channels is to wait for a break above this top Keltner channel as confirmation that a break to the upside is imminent. And, you know, this isn't always accurate especially when you have other factors of resistance at play. But as you can see right here, you know, these two resistance levels are lining up very nicely. So although it does make this level a bit stronger, the way I see it is that the bullish momentum will be even stronger if it's able to break above and close above this level. So if you go back to back here, you can see, you know, once we closed above this level, we staggered for 2 days, but then we got that tremendous bullish price action. And once you move back below that channel, that's when you tend to trade more range bound like we have since we moved back into that channel. So I'm watching now for the end of this week, possibly the start of next week, for a break above this level. It's been seeing, you know, a very nice increase in trading volume, like I pointed out on Trade the Chain. And, you know, I think that momentum from this trading volume could be sufficient to break above this top Keltner channel and also this previous resistance at the all-time high. And once it does that, you know, there's really no resistance for this thing to the upside at all, and would really enter into kind of a mode of price discovery. So really interesting place that Mana is at right now. And, you know, full disclosure, I do hold this. I plan to continue to hold it. But, you know, my next immediate play would be to perhaps consider increasing my position if we get a candle body close above this top Keltner channel, as well as above this critical level of 1.635. If that happens, I think it's really set up nicely for a parabolic move to the upside. And, you know, this is just the technicals. I still believe in the fundamental value of Decentraland. A lot of people talked about, you know, NFTs as being very similar to a lot of market bubbles that we've seen in the past. But the way I see it is that, you know, that bubble is more just indicative of fervor around this application of crypto. I think people realize that, you know, the NFT space does have some real potential going forward. And although a lot of the NFTs themselves may lose value, the underlying assets that bolster these NFT economies, I think, are still massively undervalued. So two off the top that are available on Voyager are Mana and Engine. So, you know, watch out for those as a potential benefactor of a lot of retail speculation going forward. And like I said, just watch closely at this level right here of 1.635.
Real quickly, the you know, Mana and Engine, two hot topics with the NFTs. You know, they've had some great price action off of what I'd say the hype coming into you know, middle of Q1 this year. What is the situation with NFTs right now in the market? I feel like a lot of cooling off has gone on, but is this just indicative of the long-term play, or is this a bubble?
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely still in a stage of like discovering its true utility, right? We talked about a week ago, CJ brought up how Engine had recently announced a partnership with Minecraft. And I think, you know, more partnerships like that are going to be where the real applications of these NFT plays are. There's so many online economies that need a way to, you know, get that true value. There you go, Alex. And, you know, like Alex, let's say he has a diamond pickaxe in his chest right below him that you can't see. Like that could be worth real value. And I think that, you know, applying these NFTs to these spaces that have such tremendous markets, you know, these video games see so much inflow of capital, whether it be Fortnite or Minecraft. There's a huge in-game skin economy. So I think, you know, NFTs are still finding their utility. Many of their applications so far have been, in my opinion, kind of a bubble, but I think they're still, like I said, finding that utility. And, you know, I think they're still in their very beginning stages of their applications.
You know, this feels a lot like DeFi, right? We had the first initial boom and bubble in DeFi, and then everything kind of cooled off and consolidated before the eventual grind higher to the point now where we're at an all-time high in total value locked. So it feels like, you know, NFTs, I thankfully bought Engine at the high. Yay! But I've written that down. You know, a lot of people who bought Yearn, a lot of people who bought all these other project protocols at the high and watched them kind of just drop off precipitously were worried that they had lost all their money. And now most of these projects are well above the highs that they hit during that initial boom last summer. So it feels like this is, you know, this might be how crypto verticals, how market sectors within the crypto asset space, you know, they boom at first, they consolidate, and then they eventually move higher if there is real utility. And there's of course utility in the NFT space. So I feel like we'll have a similar type of price action and development here.
Yeah, I agree with that, Ryan. That's a pretty good overview of it. I mean, August, very end of August, everybody hyped into that DeFi market. I painted the top on a couple myself, held on to them through a very lonely and dark fall, and you know, didn't really get to realize them till the new year. So, you know, NFTs, to Monty's point, still in discovery mode. People still, you know, NFTs are still, I would say, the number one thing in crypto that has a learning curve to it. A lot of people don't know what it is, or don't know their use cases or anything like that. So good one. Thanks for that, Monty. That was actually a huge cover on Mana.
I think the best takeaway from that is that you should go play Minecraft if you've never done it. It's so much fun. It's relaxing. You can chill out. You mine and craft stuff. It's amazing.
I've never played Minecraft.
Yeah, there you go.
CJ and I used to spend hours in college playing Minecraft. We had our little server set up that we'd mine crypto during the day and we'd mine diamonds at night on ours.
What do you got here, CJ?
So this is a rumor. Facebook reports earnings after the close today. And so people are speculating that, you know, what if they bought a little bit of Bitcoin? Because this is an interesting table I just wanted to share, listing some of the companies that could be targeted to buy Bitcoin as part of their balance sheets and, you know, equity that they have. So Facebook, about roughly 62 billion when it comes to equivalent of cash on their balance sheets. A lot of the investors and the board members on Facebook, like Peter Thiel, they're pretty much Bitcoiners or Bitcoin maximalists. Also, we've had a ton of interest coming out of Facebook with things like Libra and DM. So it seems not out of the realm of possibility that at one point in Facebook's future, it may in fact purchase Bitcoin for its treasury reserves. Does it have to happen tonight? Of course not. I think there's probably a low probability that that actually does occur. Nevertheless, I would not want to be short off news like that coming into the, you know, Asian market open later tonight. So just something to put on the radar.
You're saying that it's highly unlikely that Facebook announces on their earnings call today that they do hold Bitcoin?
I'm just speculating. I mean, they could, but I have a pessimistic view of markets sometimes. And so I tend to look at the worst case scenario, or just at least not the best case. That would be the best case for Bitcoin. I mean, Monty was talking earlier today. If that news came out, we could see a $10,000 daily candle.
Yeah. That would be huge because you know what everybody's always, I think, secretly wished for, and they thought they were getting this with Libra, which turned into I don't even know. Libra has had more name changes than Prince and Diddy. But let me just tell you something. Everybody's secretly holding out on the fact that Facebook becomes involved in crypto some way, somehow, because of their mass distribution, right? How many users they have and stuff like that. I literally, for one, thought that Facebook would be the one to write a check 2 years ago to buy Coinbase. I mean, imagine they own an exchange, that the amount of users they have. Wow, that would have blown things up. This is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna take a vote right now. We're gonna have a little internal contest here. I'm gonna give 400 zero tokens to whomever guesses this right. Monty, yes or no, Facebook owns Bitcoin, announces it on today's earning call?
Well, CJ is going to go with a no. So I'm going to say yes, because I want that zero token, Alex. And
all right.
That's what I'm going to go with.
CJ, this is your one opportunity to change your answer.
I mean, I'd love it to happen. Nobody wants it to happen more than myself, but I maybe not yet.
Okay.
Who's Alistair Milne, the guy who was sharing that rumor? Like, where does he get his legitimacy from? He's just an investor, right?
Yeah.
In Monaco. He's not a reporter. He's not really that well connected with Facebook that I can tell outwardly. Is he? Is he an investor in Facebook? Because otherwise he could just be like another person posting rumors about Bitcoin. If I'm wrong, I'm fine about being wrong. I'm not familiar with him. So I'm going to, I'm with CJ here. I don't think it's happening.
Even with that compelling chart that CJ pulled up?
I mean, I do love a good graphic. I'm going to have to go with CJ here. I think.
Okay.
Maybe
all right. Well,
not today.
All right, that's it. I mean, tomorrow you'll find out. I'm either in the hole for 400 zero tokens or 800 zero tokens. We'll find out who wins. So, very cool. Thanks for playing that game with me, guys. CJ's like, I don't care. It's your zero tokens, bro. All right, I want to share some ridiculous news in our last segment here. People to comment if they could. So here we go. We have U.S. officials arrest alleged operator of a $336 million Bitcoin mixing service. I find this interesting because apparently this was happening in Washington, D.C. So we all know, well, some of us may not know what mixing services are. Monty, would you be so kind to explain to the folks what a Bitcoin mixer is, please?
Yeah, sure. So as you probably know, the Bitcoin blockchain is immutable. So once a transaction does occur, you can see on the chain where those tokens ended up, where those Bitcoins ended up. And a mixer essentially takes a group of people who are all looking to exchange their Bitcoin and groups them together, and then mixes their coins all up, and then redistributes them back to the owners, but with mixed addresses. So all the coins are basically essentially pooled in one transaction to kind of obscure their original ownership. So it's kind of a way of crypto laundering. There obviously are other uses for it, but the main use would be to kind of take Bitcoin that was formerly dirty or stolen Bitcoin or something, and then move it into a coin join or a coin mixer, and comes out as clean Bitcoin. But apparently not too clean, because you can still be flagged as putting your coins through a mixer. So yeah, interesting stuff for sure.
That's a good one.
They don't have a good enough laundromat.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, Ryan, this is crypto's version of the corner laundromat right here. So 335.8 million since 2011 has been laundered through this particular mixer, and it's interestingly called Bitcoin fog. I'm assuming that's a play on you can't see through the fog too much, but All right, I'm gonna save the best for last. So I'm going to number 2 out of 3. This is Tesla bought 1.5 billion in Bitcoin earlier this year. By the end of March, it was worth 2.5 billion. Now, of course, there was a lot of FUD going on with YouTubers happily reporting how Tesla is selling its Bitcoin, run for the hills. It did sell Bitcoin. That happened the other day, or we found out the other day. But the thing is that it accounted for less than 10% of their total Bitcoin holdings, and it was obviously their public company, so it's to fill some gaps in some balance sheets or to produce some realized earnings for their EPS. Who knows? Who cares? Bottom line is they made $1 billion in profit on it. So what they sold was technically part of their profit, and everybody wants to hate them quick. Let me get some ideas, guys. Comments.
All right. I think the whole idea of selling whatever 250 million to test liquidity, that doesn't make any sense to me, because like you don't have to prove the liquidity. As long as you can get the order or get somebody to buy, you have the liquidity. Bitcoin is not at that stage anymore where you can't get out of a $200 million or even $1 billion position. So that whole excuse it seemed a little disingenuous. But I mean, yeah.
Let's call it what it is, right? They sold Bitcoin to beat earnings estimates, like, because they weren't going to otherwise. And that's what a lot of people are saying in social media. They want to beat earnings estimates. You sell $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, you do. And I think they beat it by like the skin on their teeth.
And do you know how many cars you got to sell to make $101 million in profits? Like, they did that just by holding Bitcoin. It's incredible.
Here's an interesting question for you guys. Now, especially with your comments, Ryan and Monty, he has this very creative pay package that's in place. Was this done in order to kind of get past a hurdle or to the next hurdle? Maybe I have to revisit that pay package, but if it was, who cares? I mean, geez, they made $1 billion. It was a good gamble to begin with.
No one's doubting the shrewdness of the investment and selling. I mean, if you make $1 billion, you make $1 billion. But testing liquidity, sure, okay.
All right, on to the third and final one. I love this headline, guys. I took hallucinogenic mushrooms and made billions off of Bitcoin. Now, here's a story by billionaire investor Christian Angermeyer. I don't know if maybe has an anger issue, but he is crediting taking shrooms, the ones that elicit, I guess, funny stuff in your head. And that is what his success, that's what made him buy Bitcoin. That's his success. Guys, what is up with this? Have you guys ever bought Bitcoin on shrooms? Is it a different experience? What's the guy thinking?
Say Market Rebellion does not condone the drug use of any kind, even if it does open up your mind to subjective value.
I'm sorry, CJ, could you flash the disclaimer again, please?
So this is all fine and good, right? This guy makes billions off of Bitcoin taking shrooms. Doc Ellis threw a no-hitter in 1970 while high on shrooms. He doesn't even remember throwing the game, like pitching in the game for the Padres, I think it was, or the Pirates. So if Doc Ellis can, I mean, this is kind of cool, but I'd rather throw a no-hitter on shrooms. I mean,
I love the fact you whipped that baseball history out. That was random.
Actually, I mean, throwing a no-hitter on shrooms is cooler than making $1 billion off Bitcoin.
Definitely harder to do. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather throw the no-hitter.
CJ, was your only comment to yell at us about the drug disclaimer, or do you have some thought into this?
I do. Can you give me 10 seconds? I'm waiting for this video of Doc Ellis pitching a no-hitter to load.
No, Pirates. He was on the Pirates. I just looked that up. I couldn't remember if it was Pirates or Padres.
Now, Ryan, let me ask you this: if you were a limited partner and this guy is a fiduciary, and he came out in his investor letter and said, "Listen, dear investor, we just made a crap load of money on Bitcoin because I took shrooms and bought it," would you stay in that fund or would you leave that fund?
No, I'm out. I take my money and run.
Monty.
Yeah, I'm out too. And it's like it's so weird, right? Because I don't have anything against anyone doing shrooms or anything like that, but like if you need shrooms to tell you that Bitcoin has subjective value, then you're probably not a financial advisor I'm looking for.
Also, though, right? Just be smart enough to not tell me that you could generate all those profits while you were high out of your mind, right? That's your secret sauce. Keep that in-house. Don't. If you're telling me that, what else are you telling everyone else, right? Like, come on, have half a brain.
Folks, what you're looking at is a video of that pirate pitching a no-hitter on shrooms.
Doc Ellis.
Guys, I hope we mildly entertained you guys today. I thank you once again for sticking with us to this point. You are real troopers. But listen, today's Wednesday, it's hump day. I'm super excited because tomorrow is the second half of the week into the weekend, and I will be on a beach somewhere very shortly, along with some of the other people up here. But until then, we will see you tomorrow. Hang on to your handlebars. Careful out there investing. Stay away from Safe Moon, and God bless you. Take it easy.
Thanks, everyone.